Have you ever wondered if the Sigma female next to you is genuine or just putting on a show? We've all heard about the mysterious, self-reliant Sigma female who thrives in her own lane, captivating everyone with her quiet confidence. She's become an icon in today's discussions about identity and independence. But here's the catch. With popularity comes imitation. And not everyone claiming the Sigma title truly embodies it. Sometimes what looks like a strong, independent woman is nothing more than a facade. So today, we're uncovering 8 evident signs that the Sigma female you're dealing with might be fake. And trust me, you don't want to miss this, because recognizing authenticity can save you a lot of time, energy, and emotional investment. Sign 1. She talks too much about being a Sigma female. Let's start with this. A genuine Sigma female doesn't need to declare her identity. Why? Because her actions, choices, and demeanor naturally convey who she is. She lives her truth every single day, effortlessly showcasing her independence, confidence, and uniqueness. But if someone constantly reminds you of how different or unique they are, if it feels like they're trying to convince not just you but themselves, then it's worth pausing to assess what's really going on. When someone repeatedly talks about being a Sigma female, it's often a sign they're relying on the label rather than embodying the traits that define it. This is overcompensation at its finest. Instead of letting their personality and actions do the talking, they loudly claim a title that should be self-evident. It's almost as if they're performing a role, like an actor on a stage, seeking validation from an audience instead of living authentically. Why does this happen? The idea of a Sigma female, someone mysterious, independent, and unconcerned with societal expectations, has become increasingly popular. It's seen as an aspirational archetype, and for good reason. Who wouldn't want to be perceived as strong, self-reliant, and unbothered by trivialities? Unfortunately, some people are drawn to the idea of being a Sigma rather than actually cultivating those qualities within themselves. These individuals may feel insecure or unsure of their own identity, so they latch onto the Sigma female label to boost their self-esteem or create a sense of belonging. But instead of doing the inner work to develop genuine confidence and independence, they talk about it excessively, as if saying it out loud enough times will make it true. How can you spot this behavior? A fake Sigma female will find ways to insert the term Sigma into conversations unnecessarily. She might repeatedly tell you how she doesn't care what others think, or how she's not like other women. You'll notice her constantly emphasizing her individuality, independence, or detachment, often in ways that feel forced or unnatural. For example, you might hear her say things like, "I'm just different. I don't need anyone. People don't understand me because I'm a Sigma female. Unlike most women, I don't care about fitting in." These statements might sound confident on the surface, but over time, they start to feel more like a script than an authentic expression. What does a real Sigma female do instead? A true Sigma female doesn't waste time convincing others of who she is. She knows her worth and has nothing to prove. Her independence is evident in how she lives her life, makes decisions, and treats others. She's not interested in labels because she's busy being herself, not selling an image. So, if someone keeps reminding you how Sigma they are, take a step back and ask yourself, is this confidence or just talk? Have you met someone like this? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Stick around for the next sign because it only gets more revealing. Sign 2. She's hyper-competitive with other women. One of the most defining traits of a true Sigma female is her ability to lift others up, especially other women. She doesn't see them as competition or threats because she's secure in who she is. She understands that her success isn't diminished by someone else's achievements. It's this mindset of abundance and inner confidence that truly sets her apart. But a fake Sigma female, that's a completely different story. Instead of collaborating, supporting, or celebrating the success of others, she's constantly competing. Her interactions often feel like a never-ending contest where she's trying to prove she's smarter, better, or more accomplished than those around her. Let's paint the picture. Imagine you share good news about a promotion, a creative project, or a personal milestone. A genuine Sigma female will applaud you, genuinely happy for your success, because she knows her own worth isn't tied to comparing herself to you. But a fake Sigma, her response will likely shift the spotlight back to her. Instead of celebrating your moment, she might say something like, "Oh, that's great, but I've done something similar, and it was even harder. That's nothing compared to what I'm working on right now. I was going to do that too, but I decided to aim even higher." This behavior is exhausting, isn't it? It drains the joy out of your achievements and makes interactions with her feel more like a competition than a conversation. Why does this happen? A fake Sigma female often feels insecure deep down. She wears the Sigma label as a shield, but instead of working on building true inner confidence, she fixates on being better than others. This hyper-competitiveness stems from a scarcity mindset, a belief that there's only so much success, attention, or validation to go around. As a result, she constantly compares herself to others, viewing their accomplishments as threats rather than opportunities for mutual celebration. How can you recognize this behavior? Look out for someone who turns every conversation into a subtle competition. She'll often one-up your experiences, achievements, or even struggles. If you've had a tough day, she's had it worse. If you've accomplished something amazing, she's done something even more impressive, or so she claims. You might also notice that she struggles to form genuine friendships with other women. Because she's always trying to win, her relationships lack depth and authenticity. Instead of forming bonds based on trust and mutual respect, she's constantly looking for ways to outshine or undermine. What does a true Sigma female do instead? The real Sigma female doesn't see other women as rivals. She sees them as allies. Her confidence comes from within, so she doesn't feel the need to compete for attention or approval. She's the type of person who will encourage you to chase your dreams, offer support when you're struggling, and celebrate with you when you succeed. In her world, there's enough space for everyone to thrive, and that's what makes her truly inspiring. So the next time you're around someone who seems overly competitive, ask yourself, is she genuinely secure in her Sigma energy, or is she just trying to outshine others to feel better about herself? Before jumping to the next round, let's clarify why recognizing fake Sigma females is essential for real Sigma females. Understanding the differences helps protect the integrity of the Sigma identity. Fake Sigma females may adopt the traits and behaviors associated with Sigma females for attention or validation, diluting the true essence of what it means to embody this archetype. By identifying these imposters, real Sigma females can maintain their authenticity, support one another, and foster a genuine community that celebrates independence, strength, and self-reliance without the distractions of superficiality. Sign 3. She thrives on external validation. A genuine Sigma female is someone who moves through life with quiet confidence. She doesn't need a round of applause, a pat on the back, or a flood of likes on social media to feel validated. Her sense of self-worth comes from within, and she is guided by her own values, goals, and sense of purpose. It's this inner motivation that allows her to thrive without constantly seeking approval from others. But when someone is constantly fishing for compliments, showing off, or seeking external validation to prove how independent they are, it's a big red flag. It suggests that their confidence may not be as solid as it seems on the surface. Let's break this down. The fake Sigma female will go out of her way to present herself as the epitome of independence and strength. She might flood her social media with carefully curated posts that scream, "Look at me, I don't need anyone." You'll see captions like, "Doing it all on my own, no help needed." Some people talk, but I make moves in silence. The lone wolf always wins in the end. At first glance, these statements might seem empowering, but over time, you'll notice a pattern. They're not just occasional reflections, but part of a constant need to be seen, acknowledged, and praised for her so-called independence. Why does this happen? The truth is, a fake Sigma female often feels insecure about her independence or strength. Rather than building these qualities internally, she relies on external feedback to reinforce her image. She needs people to notice, admire, and comment on her life to feel validated. Without this external reinforcement, her confidence starts to waver. In essence, her independence isn't about being strong, it's about appearing strong in the eyes of others. And that's a key difference between someone who is truly self-reliant and someone who is performing independence for an audience. How can you recognize this behavior? Pay attention to how much someone relies on external approval to feel good about themselves. Does she constantly check her phone for likes, comments, or reactions? Is she quick to bring up her achievements in conversations, even when it's not relevant? Does she seek validation by asking questions like, "Don't you think I did great?" Another sign is the way she reacts to criticism or the lack of validation. A fake Sigma female might become defensive or even crumble when she doesn't receive the recognition she craves. A true Sigma female, on the other hand, doesn't let others' opinions dictate her self-worth. What does a real Sigma female do instead? A genuine Sigma female doesn't need to shout her accomplishments from the rooftops. She doesn't live for the spotlight or the approval of others. Her independence is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in her own sense of purpose. Whether or not anyone notices, she keeps moving forward, doing what fulfills her and aligns with her values. She might share her life on social media or discuss her achievements, but it's not to seek applause. It's to inspire, educate, or connect with others, not to fill an internal void. The key takeaway: someone who thrives on external validation isn't as independent as they claim to be. Real independence means being content with who you are, even when no one is watching. So if someone constantly needs others to confirm how independent or strong they are, it's worth questioning how much of that persona is genuine. Hit that like button if you've ever been on the receiving end of this kind of rivalry, and keep watching. There's more to uncover. Sign 4. She avoids conflict by ghosting. One of the most telling signs of a fake Sigma female is how she handles conflict, or rather, how she avoids it. A genuine Sigma female is known for her emotional maturity and ability to face challenges head-on with poise and grace. She doesn't shy away from difficult conversations because she understands the value of communication, accountability, and resolution. When something needs to be addressed, she steps up with calm confidence, aiming to resolve the issue without unnecessary drama. In stark contrast, a fake Sigma female takes the easy way out. Instead of dealing with uncomfortable situations, she vanishes, ghosting people at the first hint of conflict. Whether it's a disagreement with a friend, a misunderstanding with a colleague, or a tough conversation in a relationship, she avoids it entirely and justifies her behavior with statements like, "I don't have time for this," or "I'm too independent to deal with drama." While this might sound like self-preservation, it's actually a way to deflect responsibility and avoid personal growth. Ghosting might provide temporary relief from an awkward situation, but it leaves others feeling confused, hurt, and undervalued. Over time, this pattern reveals a lack of emotional strength and a fear of confrontation, traits that are far from the hallmarks of a true Sigma female. Real independence isn't about running from conflict. It's about addressing it with integrity. So if someone frequently disappears when things get tough and cloaks it in the guise of being above the drama, ask yourself, is she truly independent, or is she just unwilling to face the complexities of real relationships? Drop a comment if you've experienced this type of disappearing act. And if you're enjoying this so far, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's your support that keeps us going. Sign 5. Her independence feels forced. Independence is one of the most defining traits of a Sigma female. It's not just a quality she develops, it's woven into the very fabric of who she is. For a true Sigma, independence is effortless and unforced. She doesn't feel the need to prove it to anyone because her actions and choices consistently reflect her self-reliance. Her independence is quiet, natural, and authentic. It's not something she needs to announce, and it certainly isn't a performance for others. But when independence feels exaggerated or forced, it's a sign that something isn't adding up. A fake Sigma female will often go out of her way to highlight how much she doesn't need anyone. She'll drop comments like, "I handle everything on my own," or "I don't rely on people for anything." On social media, she might post about her ability to go solo everywhere, emphasizing her independence in a way that feels more like a campaign than a genuine expression. While these statements may sound strong and empowering, over time they start to feel hollow and repetitive, as if she's trying to convince herself more than anyone else. Why does this happen? Often it stems from insecurity. A fake Sigma female may feel pressure to live up to the ideal of the independent woman, but instead of working on building true self-reliance, she focuses on projecting the image of it. This performative independence is more about creating a persona than embracing an authentic lifestyle. She wants to appear strong and detached, but the effort she puts into proving it makes the act transparent. You'll notice that this type of forced independence doesn't hold up under pressure. While a real Sigma female takes challenges in stride and leans on her inner strength to navigate life's complexities, a fake Sigma might crack when things get tough. For instance, if she suddenly needs help but refuses to ask for it because it would ruin her image, that's a clear indication that her independence is more about appearances than reality. Another telltale sign is how she reacts to genuine connections. A real Sigma female values her independence, but she also understands the importance of meaningful relationships. She doesn't see asking for help or leaning on someone in a moment of need as a threat to her self-sufficiency. On the other hand, a fake Sigma will avoid vulnerability at all costs, fearing it might expose her as less independent than she claims. True independence doesn't need an audience. It doesn't demand recognition or validation because it's grounded in self-awareness and inner strength. Performative independence, however, thrives on external perception. If someone's independence feels like a constant performance, loud, exaggerated, and overly emphasized, it's likely all about image, not substance. Real Sigma females let their independence shine through their actions, not their words. They don't need to prove their strength, they simply embody it. So, if you notice someone constantly showcasing their independence in ways that feel unnatural or forced, take a closer look. Genuine independence isn't about rejecting others for the sake of appearances. It's about embracing your own strength while still valuing the people and connections that matter. Sign 6. She mimics others instead of being original. Authenticity is at the heart of what makes a real Sigma female stand out. She's original, self-assured, and unapologetically herself. Her decisions, style, and approach to life are guided by her own values, interests, and inner sense of purpose, not by what's trendy or popular. A true Sigma female doesn't feel the need to imitate others because she knows her individuality is her greatest strength. But when someone constantly mimics others, it's a clear sign they're not as authentic as they might claim. A fake Sigma female often lacks the confidence or self-awareness to trust her own instincts, so she looks outward for cues on how to act, dress, or present herself. She might copy the mannerisms, opinions, or fashion choices of popular figures, blending into the crowd rather than standing out. While this behavior might help her appear confident or in the know, it's ultimately a facade, a borrowed identity, rather than a true reflection of who she is. This mimicry is especially noticeable when trends are involved. A fake Sigma female will often latch on to whatever is currently in, whether it's a particular style of clothing, a social media aesthetic, or even a specific personality trait that's gaining popularity. For instance, if independence and mystery are the traits du jour, she might try to act the part of the aloof, self-reliant individual. However, because it's not genuine, her actions often come across as exaggerated or inconsistent. You might notice this pattern in how she talks about herself or her interests. One week, she's obsessed with a minimalist lifestyle because it's trendy. The next, she's all about a lavish, influencer-style aesthetic. Her opinions and behaviors shift frequently, not because she's exploring different facets of herself, but because she's chasing what's currently admired by others. Why does this happen? At its core, mimicry often stems from insecurity. A fake Sigma female may lack a strong sense of self, making it difficult for her to carve her own path. Instead of taking the time to explore her own passions, values, and identity, she looks to others for inspiration and ends up copying them instead of adapting ideas to fit her own unique personality. This behavior stands in stark contrast to the real Sigma female, who values originality above all. A true Sigma doesn't feel pressure to fit into societal molds or align herself with popular trends. She has a deep understanding of who she is, and that self-awareness allows her to stay true to herself regardless of what others are doing. Her authenticity is what makes her magnetic and admirable. If you notice someone constantly mirroring others, whether it's their style, opinions, or even their personality, it's worth questioning how much of their Sigma energy is real. True individuality doesn't need to be borrowed or imitated. It's something that comes from within. A real Sigma female inspires others by being herself, not by mimicking the traits or trends that seem popular in the moment. Which of these signs have you noticed in your own life? Share in the comments. And don't forget, we still have 2 more eye-opening points to go. Sign 7. She lacks emotional depth. Emotional depth is one of the most powerful yet understated traits of a true Sigma female. She is emotionally intelligent, self-aware, and deeply connected to her inner world. This depth allows her to navigate life with a sense of clarity and balance. She doesn't shy away from exploring her emotions, whether they're joyful or painful, because she knows that understanding herself is key to growth. A genuine Sigma female embraces her vulnerabilities, seeing them not as weaknesses, but as essential parts of her humanity and strength. On the other hand, a fake Sigma female lacks this emotional depth. She often avoids vulnerability entirely, keeping her interactions and expressions shallow. While she may outwardly project confidence and independence, this facade is carefully constructed to hide her discomfort with emotional introspection. For her, maintaining an image of strength is more important than connecting with herself or others on a deeper level. You can recognize this lack of emotional depth in several ways. A fake Sigma female tends to steer conversations away from personal or vulnerable topics. If someone shares their struggles or emotions with her, She might respond with dismissive or surface-level remarks like, "You'll get over it," or "I don't dwell on emotions, I just move on." While this might come across as strength at first, over time, it becomes clear that she avoids engaging with the complexity of emotions, both her own and those of others. Another sign of this shallowness is her tendency to rely on clichés or generic statements when talking about personal growth or resilience. For example, she might frequently say things like, "I've learned to cut people off," or "I don't let emotions control me," without offering any real insight into what those experiences taught her or how they shaped her as a person. These statements often feel rehearsed, lacking the nuance and depth that come from genuine self-reflection. Why does this happen? Often it's because a fake Sigma female associates vulnerability with weakness. She fears that if she lets people see her insecurities or struggles, they'll question her independence and strength. To protect herself, she builds a wall around her emotions, presenting an image of stoicism that may seem impressive on the surface, but feels hollow underneath. In contrast, a real Sigma female understands that emotional intelligence is a vital part of true strength. She's not afraid to confront her fears, insecurities, and past wounds because she knows that these experiences make her stronger, not weaker. Her emotional depth allows her to form meaningful connections with others, empathize with their struggles, and approach life with wisdom and grace. Ultimately, the difference between a real and fake Sigma female lies in their willingness to embrace vulnerability. While a fake Sigma hides behind a facade of strength, a real Sigma knows that true strength comes from self-awareness and emotional authenticity. So, if someone seems emotionally distant or avoids engaging with their inner world, it's a clear sign they might not be as authentic as they claim. Emotional depth isn't about having all the answers. It's about being unafraid to ask the questions. Sign 8. She only focuses on the spotlight. A true Sigma female is like a quiet flame. She doesn't seek the spotlight, but it naturally gravitates toward her. Her actions, confidence, and authenticity create an undeniable presence that draws people in. She isn't driven by the need to be noticed. She thrives on her own terms, comfortable with who she is, whether the world is watching or not. This effortless magnetism is what makes her stand out. In contrast, a fake Sigma female craves the spotlight. She actively works to position herself at the center of attention, often doing whatever it takes to stay relevant. For her, it's not about being authentic, it's about appearing significant. Everything she does feels curated for the audience, from the way she presents herself to the stories she shares. Whether she's posting perfect moments on social media, constantly talking about her accomplishments, or exaggerating her independence, it's clear that the goal is to be seen, admired, and validated. Take her online presence, for example. A fake Sigma female might flood her social media feeds with photos, captions, or stories that scream, "Look at me." Her posts are often highly curated, designed to project an image of strength, independence, and mystery. She may post about being a lone wolf or share overly dramatized accounts of her achievements, making them seem larger than life. But when you look closer, you'll notice these stories lack depth or consistency. Everything feels like part of a performance. Another sign of her need for the spotlight is her tendency to steer conversations back to herself. Whether you're discussing a group project, a shared experience, or even a personal struggle, she somehow manages to make it about her. She may interrupt with stories of how she did something bigger, better, or bolder, leaving little room for others to share their experiences. Why does this happen? At its core, the fake Sigma female's focus on the spotlight stems from insecurity. She relies on external attention to feel validated and struggles with the idea of going unnoticed. While a true Sigma female finds fulfillment in her own accomplishments and personal growth, the fake Sigma measures her worth by how much attention she can command. The problem with this behavior is that it's unsustainable. Seeking constant validation can become exhausting, not just for the person doing it, but also for those around her. Over time, the need for attention overshadows genuine connection, leaving relationships feeling shallow and one-sided. In contrast, the real Sigma female doesn't need the spotlight to feel valued. Her strength and independence are grounded in authenticity, and she's perfectly content operating behind the scenes. She lets her actions speak louder than words, trusting that the right people will notice her for who she truly is. If someone seems overly focused on maintaining an image or constantly chasing attention, it's a clear sign they may not be as independent as they claim. Real strength doesn't need a stage, it shines all on its own. Now here's the most critical thing to remember. Authenticity cannot be faked. A genuine Sigma female doesn't try to prove herself to anyone. She simply is. Understanding these signs can help you spot the difference between someone truly unique and someone who's just playing a role. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your support that inspires us to create more content like this. And hey, check out our other videos for deeper insights into the Sigma mindset. Together, we can build a community of truly empowered individuals. Until next time, stay strong, stay true, and most importantly, stay you.